You are probably wondering why am I even making this video in the first place, but there is a good reason behind it. If you ever entered an online race and thought, is it worth staying on the same set of tires and trying to survive for the last lap or two, or is it worth pitting and having a fresh set of tires while losing some time in the pits? To give you more context, this week's daily race C at Nürburgring had exactly that. So the tire multiplier was times 6, meaning that the tires would last about 13 to 14 laps at best, while the pit stop loss was about 19 to 20 seconds. 15 laps means that you had to gain at least 1.4 seconds to make the pit stop worth it. On this track, that was simply not possible, not to even include the traffic and potential mistake you could have done. And that's the reason why I'm making this video. So the first thing and the most important one is to minimize the damage by moving your braking balance left or right depending on the car you're driving. In this case, I was driving a 911 RSR and my rear tires were going off more than my fronts, and that's why I had to set the braking bias to -5. On the other hand, later I drove a Nissan GTR and had to put the braking bias to +5 to avoid the front tires from wearing out. The best idea is to set the preferred braking bias before the race to prevent additional damage. And the next thing is to realize when the car will start to dramatically lose performance. In my case, it was about 80 to 90% of wear, and that's why I started taking the following steps. Always brake in the straight line and never trail brake with cars that have more than 90% of wear. I guess you can trail brake with very stable cars like GTR and most of the FR cars, but with my Porsche 911 I just couldn't do it. There was simply no way to do it. The car becomes very unstable and it's almost impossible to control it. And that's why you have to activate TCS. I know driving with TCS is slower in Gran Turismo, but in this situation you simply have to do it, especially if the rear tires are affected. Try to stay with only one TCS, but if that's not enough, use 2 to 3. FR cars don't seem to be affected by this issue that much, and I haven't had a problem while driving my GTR. The only problem was the front wear, and there was a little bit of understeer, but not even close to the Porsche 911. The next step would be to accelerate when braking. This will prevent the car from sliding too much and causing it to spin. This is a difficult thing to do, but it requires a little bit of work, and in the end it does work. Even in turns when in normal conditions you were just coasting, put 10 to 15% of the acceleration down and the car will stabilize. Also, do the same when you're braking. And I believe that the most important part would be to understand the limitations of the car. So changing your braking points and braking slightly sooner. For example, in this case, let's say I'm braking usually at 100 meters, now I will try to brake at 110 to 115. And of course, it really depends on the car you're driving and the stopping abilities of that car. And I would say if none of this works, but in my opinion, it should work, use assists. But the only assist that you need to use is counter steering assistance at weak. And this is the reason why I can save the car in very tough situations and make the most out of my strategy. Also, keep in mind that changing the settings of the car can change the tire wear as well. And also, picking the right car for this race, in my case it was a GTR, will dramatically help you with your race strategy and make you win more races. And if you would like to know more how can you prevent the car from sliding too much and burning the tires too soon, you can also have a look at my video in the description. So until the next time, bye.